Okay, so this recording is about how to post a blog post. So when you sign into the Global Climate Pledge, you'll be signing in on a web page like this. It takes you to this dashboard. And again, you might see less things than I have up since I am an admin, but you'll go over to the left. You'll typically be dealing with pages when we're editing web pages, but posts are a little bit different. They automatically generate web pages for each post, but it's essentially just how it's separated. And when you get there, you'll see all the blog posts that we have. It's a bunch from me actually recently for different purposes. And essentially what you'll want to do is just create one from scratch because you're going to be following your own format most likely, depending on what you've written or are writing. So you'll just go ahead and add new. What we want to do is we want to have the final blog post ready in a Google Doc, ready to copy and paste over and not start a blog post in WordPress and just go ahead and edit from there. That way we can go with our usual processes of editing and giving comments and feedback in Google Docs, and then it's ready to go in here. And we're familiar with Google Docs. We're not familiar with WordPress. We're not messing around with something we don't understand. So I'm just going to use the title of what you're working on, somewhat, Green Urbanist podcast interview, something like that. So as you saw, it said add title. So whatever your title is, just type it in there, copy and paste it in there. And essentially, like, let's just say this is, I don't know, let's just say this is the blog post. Typed to choose a block, you can just hit Command V and it will copy whatever you have copied. So it might be a whole lot of paragraphs. It might be images you have interspersed throughout there. You can do all of that. Or you can just go and type, copy and paste all the text at once, and you see it separates by paragraph. It looks a little weird, but it's pretty straightforward. You can kind of just go ahead and keep typing if you need to at the end, and that's fine. You can see it sort of adds a new block, and say you want to split this up. Say this is one paragraph, it's very different from the next, and you want to have a connecting photo. You can just add space in between them, go over to the right and add an image, and it's similar to before. You'll just upload from your own computer, or maybe it's already in the media library. You tried doing it some other way first and it's already there. You can do that. So oops, let's just say I'm adding this webinar graphic. It will automatically pop up with the ability to add a caption down below. So definitely add a caption for whatever you're adding. If it's a logo from a podcast or from an organization, make sure to give credit to them. Definitely italicize whatever your caption is, and say you're just adding in something, you know, it's just a general urban planning picture. Say it's a urban landscape. Just describe that like you would for someone who maybe isn't able to see the image and maybe is listening to the article using a transcription software because maybe they're not able to see. And then, you know, if you're giving a source, you parentheses, source, something like that. And then when you get down to here, you're going to have to put in that title again. Why it doesn't automatically go down there, I'm not completely sure, but you would copy and paste that there. And then down below, this is the description that pops up when you say would look up this blog post in Google search. And so it's sort of like a little blurb that you want to get people's attention. So this should be about 160 characters, 1 or 2 sentences. So something to grab people's attention. For example, on this other blog post I have, you know, something about a safe climate with no more than 1.5 degrees warming will require net zero emissions by 2050. Then I could add, what does this mean at the end? And that would be the little blurb that goes there. You can ignore pretty much everything here. I think you'll just leave it as show page title. Everything over here, you will want to do your checks. Make sure that you're set as the author if it's your article that you're publishing. And to make sure, if you're posting this in relation to the university team, to make sure that shows up with the other university posts. There's a whole page for these posts, which right now are just describing the webinars we have. You want to make sure to add the tag EduClimate, because essentially there's a web function that it automatically populates this page with blogs that have the tag EduClimate. And then you can see most used here, and you can add something else that seems relevant, like sustainability or climate change or podcast, something like that. Doesn't really matter. For excerpt over here, I would copy and paste what you have over here for this description. Again, make sure that the author is correct. Again, it shows it twice for some reason, I'm not sure. Make sure the sidebar is disabled. That's not relevant. And then you can add a featured image, but ideally you don't add a featured image that has a lot of text on it. That could be cut off. For example, you can see I'm working with this problem right now. I've added featured images right here, and you can see it cuts them off here. So I would add a featured image that sort of alludes to the theme of the post. So again, if it's about urbanism, show an urban landscape where it's okay to cut off the edges if it automatically does that. And then make sure that you go down to categories and select the EduClimate series so that, again, it also goes in the right place and people can search by category and it shows up right. And then you'll want to periodically save your draft as you're editing this, because again, you don't want to publish until you're sure it's final. So you would save your draft as many times as you think necessary. I like to save very often. Then you'll want to preview in a new tab to make sure everything looks correct. This is going to look not correct because I made it weirdly. So again, if you see a sidebar on the right, if you see your image being cut off, if you see it being the wrong author, that's when you know how to cut. You know you need to go back and fix things. And then I would say before you ever publish it, you should run it by me. So get me the link before you go ahead and publish it, and then we'll find the right time to publish it. We can actually schedule it as well, I believe, somewhere over here. So say we save this draft, and I think we reload it, and it will start to look like what it does when you edit a page. No, I think we would have to go back. And now there should be a draft. Click that again. So only the first, okay, well, once you publish it and you click on it back over here again, it'll look like when you edit a page. This is what I mean, when you edit a page on the back end. So it will look a little different, but you'll scroll down and it will look back like the WordPress Bakery page builder edits. So that might be more familiar to you. So if you want to make a lot of edits after you publish for some reason, make sure you run them by me, of course. But again, it will be a little bit more familiar if you've already been editing the pages. That's about it. It's pretty simple. I gave probably more detail than is necessary, but any questions about that? Or does it mostly make sense?
It makes sense.
That makes sense to me as well.